Alright, today, rig rundown, and imagine you might already know what that is. Pretty neat. Got that for a present. Alright, rig. First of all, battery backups. Secondary charge, just to make sure we're good. Backup power supply, and a ton of wires. Yeah, that's a lot of wires. Yes, that's the fan. So basically we have, this is my main setup. Here is an antenna tuner. Of course, my HF radio, power supply, my little guy right there. Look at my little guy. Another power supply. Meters for either that or that, depending on which I switch it to, which is right there. This is my rotator that rotates my beam. My 2-meter radio. And I mean, if you're going to do communications, heck, why not a CB? So, start off. Gotta have my, why am I zoomed in? Scratch paper. Have to have scratch paper, writing down notes, stuff like that. There's programming cable, by the way. I gotta bring that to some guy. And antenna tuner. An antenna will only be resonant on one frequency, whichever one you tune it to, and it just might so happen to be resonant on a couple other frequencies. But here I can switch between my dummy load, and I have 2 coaxes back there, and right now I have both of those hooked up. And basically all this is just tuning my coax for whichever frequency that, or actually tuning my antenna for whatever frequency that I want it tuned to at that particular time, depending on what frequency I have this radio set on. Now this radio obviously goes from 1.5 megahertz all the way up to the top end of 29 megahertz. So there's not one antenna that's going to cover all that, so you have to have a tuner to basically, so you can run between all those different frequencies and not have any SWR issues with your antenna, because radios do not like SWRs. They tend to burn them up, which is what that little guy's for right there. When that light comes on, you've done something wrong. Stop. So anyway, quick little rundown of my radio. Right now I've got my data cable hooked into it. This is the microphone. I'm not talking at the moment because I'm using a mode that's called FT8. And basically what this is letting my computer do all the work for me. And you see all this stuff scrolling by. These people in blue are looking for a contact, and the other ones in white are already in a contact and exchanging information. All this information you see here, that's grid squares, FN03. That means his report was received in 73. 73 in ham just means have a safe day. This power supply is powering the CB, and that's the only thing it's doing right now. Got my little guy, my little Yaesu FT70D. Love this thing. Awesome little radio. Battery life's terrible though. Terrible battery life. This is one of my antenna switches. That's not a very good place for it, but at least it's not scratching up my radio. That's temporarily mounted until I get my massive tower set outside. Now here is my main power supply. 30 amp. This is my nightlight. I like my nightlight. Anyway, that is my main power supply. It's tied into the battery, so it will also charge the battery. I don't have a blocking diode installed on it at the moment, so when I shut it off, it stays lit up because it's still tapped into the power supply. I got to get a blocking diode in there, but I just haven't found one big enough, so I'm going to have to use several more than likely. Anyway, and there is my voltage and current draw. That's how much current I'm currently pulling from the battery. Notice my charging light is not on, and I've got it set on amperage because that's how many amp per hours are left in the battery and the percentage of battery life, and that is voltage and how many watts I'm currently pulling out of the battery. So I'll turn this back on, and now you see we're charging the battery, and it'll go down as the battery gets charged. So we're back up to 14 volts. Good deal. Next, antenna rotator. This is rotating my 2-meter beam, one of my 2-meter beams. It's currently rotating the 5 element. I've got a 10 element up, but it's stationary at the moment because I need it pointed in a certain direction. And 2-meter radio, Yaesu FT2900, great little radio. The predecessor to this, I'm sorry, this is the predecessor to the new 2980. 2900 puts out 75 watts, 2980 puts out 80 watts. Massive, good power output for a mobile, but it draws some current. That's why it takes 30 amp power supply, and I can't key this radio and my big radio at the same time because that one puts out 100 watts, actually about 115 depending on what band you're on. So that's my 2-meter scanning all my repeaters plus all my simplex frequencies, and then just basically another SWR power meter. That's a chip clip. We'll get that out of there. Funny story about that little fuse hanging down there. And everybody knows what a CB is.
OHP 146.91 repeater.
That's
with
in
PL
Missouri.
100.0 hertz.
Getting a good signal on them tonight. And of course you've seen the conversation that's going on and the current frequency that my radio is on and all that. Basically the computer is controlling the radio at this point. And that's in case I get thirsty. That's in case things get stabby. And for some reason I keep losing my memory, so I keep a memory stick around. Okay, this is in correlation with this screen. These are all the conversations that are going on. It's really kind of hard to put that into perspective, so we have this screen. This is what is actually all the conversations that are going on currently. A lot of people talking to this station down here in Africa, mainly because Africa does not transmit much. As you see, there's only one person in the entire continent of Africa, not including Saudi Arabia, that is transmitting anything. And he is somewhere in between Kenya and Tanzania. Ah, Nairobi. Okay. And I've already made contact with him before. That's why it's a different color. So anyway, I can see anywhere in the world who's talking to who. I hear my buddy in Italy's talking. Sure is. My other buddy in Italy's talking. Anyway, that's just basically how I keep track of who's talking to who. And all this only monitors one single frequency. So if you want to monitor multiple frequencies at once, then you go over here. This is my little software defined radio that somehow has turned itself off. So I like this little guy. Mine's actually an RTL SDR, but there are others. So pretty cool there. And I like that one just because I can watch certain frequencies, who's talking without me listening to them at the particular time. So that's pretty neat, and I love a waterfall. Waterfalls are great. So, move on from that. And my final screen, I like to watch weather because it's getting close to storming. And I've got a whole lot of aluminum and wire in the air, high up in the air. And lightning is not my friend. So, we keep an eye on that. And also any call signs that I come across, I can reference them here, such as myself. That's me. So anyway, that is my basic rig rundown. And of course I keep all my stuff on the wall. Grid square map. This is actually my antenna tuner, all the different settings that I've found that work the best for the vertical antenna and the dipole antenna, and of course the band plan, and my just basically worked all states map, which I have worked all states, but 3 are unconfirmed: Missouri, Iowa, and Mississippi. Still waiting on those guys to confirm the QSO. Confirm your QSOs, please. W5 MRL. And this has been my rig rundown. Bye-bye.